Son, when you're 20, you feel like your thoughts are fireworks. You want the whole world to look up. You want to explain yourself to everyone, your plans, your insights, your big idea. You think being heard is the same as being respected. Then you reach your 30s and life teaches you a quieter lesson. Silence can carry more weight than speech. I learned to read more than books. I learned to read rooms, faces, pauses, the kind of smile that's warm and the kind that's hungry. Over time, I understood something most people learn too late. There are things you should not hand out to anyone, not to friends, not to neighbors, not even to people who swear they love you. You might think that sounds paranoid. What's the harm in sharing, you'll ask? Let me answer you with a line an old man once gave me when I was young and loud. Not every door should stay unlocked, and not every visitor comes with clean hands. Some truths lose their strength the moment they become public. Not because they're mystical, because human nature is predictable. The minute you expose something precious, you invite opinions, envy, interference, and worse, careless mouths repeating your life like it's news. Look around today. People display themselves like shop windows. What they eat, where they go, who they sleep beside, how much they make, what hurts them, who betrayed them, what they're building next. And then they're shocked when the world answers with jealousy, mockery, and sabotage. They call it bad energy. It isn't. It's simple cause and effect. They opened the gate and acted surprised someone walked in. So sit with me for a moment. Don't treat this like another video. Imagine an older house, wood that creaks, books that smell like time. Imagine someone speaking to you not for applause, but because he's seen what loose words can cost. Here are 12 things you should keep guarded. You'll think some are small. They aren't. Your life is built from small hinges. One sentence at the wrong time, and you lose a friend. One confession to the wrong ear, and you lose your dignity. One complaint spoken casually, and your private pain becomes someone else's entertainment. The first thing, don't announce your plans. Most people ruin their future by talking about it too early. They describe the business they'll start, the move they'll make, the marriage they'll build, as if saying it out loud makes it real. But plans are like a seed in dark soil. If you keep digging it up to show everyone, it never roots. Speak when it's done. Until then, let your actions stay quieter than your mouth. The second thing, don't place your weak points on the table for just anyone to study. You will meet people who comfort you today and quote your pain tomorrow. A struggle shared with the wrong person becomes a weapon in their pocket. Keep your wounds for those who have proven they can hold them with care, not with curiosity. The third thing you should guard is your good deeds. Helping someone is simple. Talking about it is tempting. The moment you turn kindness into a story you tell others, it changes shape. It stops being service and starts becoming currency. You are no longer lifting someone up. You are polishing your own reflection. I once learned this in a quiet way. I did something small for a person who was struggling and told no one. No praise followed, no recognition. What I felt instead was something rarer, stillness, a clean feeling untouched by approval. That silence was the reward. Real goodness does not ask to be witnessed. It survives best when it stays unnamed. The fourth thing, do not entertain conversations about other people's failures. This is how many people bond, by tearing someone else apart when they are not in the room. It feels harmless, even clever. But every judgment trains your mind to become small. You see only the surface of another person's life and mistake it for the whole story. There is always more beneath what you see. Reasons, wounds, choices made under pressure you never faced. The habit of judging others sharpens a blade that eventually turns inward. The mouth that enjoys gossip will one day find itself at the center of it. The fifth thing is closer to home. Never take your family problems outside your walls. Every home has cracks. Arguments happen. Disappointments happen. But the moment you describe your private life to strangers, you weaken it. People remember the worst version of those you love, even when you have already forgiven them. A family is not fragile because it argues. It becomes fragile when outsiders are invited to carry its conflicts. Resolve what you can quietly. Protect what is yours. Privacy is not secrecy. It is respect. The sixth thing, do not open your inner world to everyone who asks. Some people mistake openness for depth. They tell their life story to anyone who listens and then wonder why they feel exposed, misunderstood, or manipulated. Your inner life is not a public square, it is a private room. Only those who have shown patience, discretion, and loyalty deserve the key. Trust, once handed out cheaply, becomes impossible to recover. The seventh thing is money. Never speak too freely about what you have or what you lack. Poverty invites pity. Displayed comfort invites envy. Both distort how people see you. Financial peace depends on quiet. Stability prefers to move unnoticed. When you talk about money, you invite comparisons. Comparisons breed resentment. Resentment rarely stays silent. Keep your numbers to yourself. Let your life speak in balance, not in explanations. The eighth thing is your knowledge. Not everything you know needs to be shared. Wisdom is not proven by winning arguments. The most capable person in a room is often the one who listens longest. Words used carelessly dull the edge of understanding. Speak when you are asked. Speak when it protects someone from harm. Otherwise, let silence do its work. Depth reveals itself only when drawn out. The ninth thing you should keep private is your intimate life. Our time treats what should be sacred as content. People speak openly about what belongs to the space between two souls and then wonder why closeness fades. Intimacy survives on trust, and trust survives on silence. The moment you turn the private into a story for others, it loses its weight. What is shared too widely stops feeling safe. The 10th thing is how you speak about yourself. Many people undermine their own future with casual sentences. I'm not good at this. I'm not that kind of person. I always fail. They think they're being humble. They are not. They are giving the world instructions on how to treat them. Humility keeps you grounded. Self-disrespect erodes you from within. You can acknowledge mistakes without turning yourself into one. Speak about yourself as someone still learning, not someone already defeated. The world listens more closely than you think. The 11th thing is constant complaint. Pain is real. Struggle is real. But there is a difference between sharing a burden and making suffering your identity. People drift away from those who carry their pain loudly into every room, not because they are cruel, but because heaviness spreads. When life is difficult, choose carefully where your words land. Speak to someone who can hold them, or speak in silence where thoughts can settle. Strength grows when you learn to endure without broadcasting every wound. The 12th thing is envy, even borrowed envy. You see someone succeed and repeat what others say, they got lucky. They had help. Must be nice. You don't know the cost they paid. You never do. Envy poisons the space inside you, even when spoken lightly. If you want a lighter life, speak lightly. When you see another person rise, let your first response be goodwill. It clears your mind and keeps your path open. These 12 things may sound ordinary. They are not. They are the quiet rules that build an inner fortress, not walls against the world, but boundaries that keep you whole. People who talk constantly often feel empty. People who choose their words carefully grow stronger over time. The world is loud, louder than ever. Noise fills every gap. Screens, opinions, confessions, reactions. In that noise, the most important voice is often lost. Your own. Silence, when chosen, helps you hear it again. I am not telling you to hide. I am telling you to protect. There is a difference. A guarded life is not a small life. It is a deliberate one. If you're still listening, it tells me something about you. Most people can't stay with quiet ideas for long. They rush forward, looking for a shortcut or a headline, but some lessons only arrive when you slow down enough to let them settle. Here's the part many misunderstand. Silence is not weakness. Silence is selection. It is choosing when a word has value and when it is just noise. I've watched people ruin good lives not through big mistakes, but through careless honesty. They told the wrong person too much, too early. They explained themselves when no explanation was needed. They defended when no defense was required, and each time a little authority leaked away. There are moments when speaking feels urgent. You want to be understood. You want to clear your name. You want to release what's pressing on your chest. But urgency is a poor advisor. Words spoken to relieve pressure often create new problems that last longer than the relief. Think of your words as arrows. Once released, they do not return. You may regret the aim, but the arrow is already in flight. This is why restraint matters more than eloquence. I learned this slowly, through loss. I said too much at work once, believing transparency would earn trust. Instead, it gave others leverage. I shared doubts, thinking it would build closeness. It built distance. I complained, believing it would bring support. It brought judgment. Each time, the lesson was the same. Not everything you feel needs a witness. Some thoughts need time, not listeners. People often confuse being private with being dishonest. They are not the same. You are not obligated to narrate your life. You are allowed to keep parts of yourself untouched by opinion. That space is where clarity grows. Look closely at people who carry quiet confidence. They are not mysterious because they hide secrets. They are grounded because they speak only when it matters. Their words land with weight because they are not scattered everywhere. Silence also teaches you something else: how to listen. When you speak less, you notice more. You hear what people avoid saying. You see patterns. You understand intentions without being told. This awareness protects you better than any explanation ever could. The habit of restraint does not come naturally. It feels uncomfortable at first, like holding back a reflex. But over time, it becomes strength. You stop leaking energy. You stop negotiating your worth through conversation. You become harder to disturb. This is not about shutting down. It is about choosing depth over display, meaning over noise, direction over reaction. The question is not whether you can speak. Of course you can. The question is whether you can wait. Waiting is harder than talking. Talking gives instant relief. Waiting asks for discipline. But discipline is what separates a life that reacts from a life that leads. Most people reveal too much because they confuse expression with progress. They believe that if something is spoken, it is somehow handled. It isn't. Often it's only scattered. Words can dilute focus. Silence can concentrate it. There is a reason certain people seem untouchable, even when circumstances are difficult. It is not because they are lucky. It is because they do not negotiate their inner world in public. They do not explain every decision. They do not justify every pause. They move quietly, and because of that, they move far. When you stop over-explaining, something changes. People begin to listen more carefully when you do speak. Your presence gains weight. Your yes matters. Your no is accepted without argument. This is not manipulation. It is the natural result of self-respect. You will notice resistance at first. Some people feel uncomfortable when you stop feeding them information. They ask questions. They push. They joke. This tells you everything you need to know. Anyone who demands access to your thoughts does not respect your boundaries. A guarded life is not a lonely life. It is a focused one. You learn which conversations move you forward and which simply drain you. You learn to leave certain words unsaid, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. There were times in my life when I thought being open would protect me. It did the opposite. Protection came only when I learned to pause, to observe, to let moments pass before responding. Many conflicts dissolve on their own when you refuse to rush into them with your mouth. Silence also reveals character, both yours and others. When you don't fill every gap, people show you who they are. They project, they assume, they expose their intentions without realizing it. In that quiet, you gain clarity no argument could ever give you. This does not mean suppressing truth. It means timing it. Truth spoken at the wrong moment becomes noise. Truth spoken at the right moment becomes direction. If there is one habit that quietly reshapes a person's life, it is this. Before you speak, ask yourself what this word will build and what it might destroy. Not every truth needs to travel. Some truths are meant to stay where they were born until they are strong enough to stand. If you've stayed with me this long, it means you understand something many people miss. These ideas are not rules meant to shrink you. They are boundaries meant to protect what matters most. We live in a time that confuses visibility with value. People are taught to speak constantly, to explain themselves, to turn every thought into content. Silence is treated like weakness, privacy like suspicion, depth like something outdated. And yet, the people who move through life with the most stability tend to do the opposite. They choose carefully what leaves their mouth, not because they are afraid, because they are deliberate. There is a quiet dignity in knowing that you do not owe the world access to your inner life. You are allowed to keep parts of yourself untouched by opinion. You are allowed to let plans grow before exposing them to light. You're allowed to feel pain without turning it into a public performance. This is not isolation. It is stewardship. Your words shape your reality more than you realize. Spoken carelessly, they weaken you. Spoken with intention, they strengthen you. And sometimes, not spoken at all, they protect you. I am not asking you to disappear. I am asking you to become selective, to slow down before you speak, to notice the cost of each sentence, to understand that restraint is not silence for silence's sake, but silence in service of clarity. Think of your life as something you are building quietly from the inside, brick by brick. habit by habit, choice by choice. The loudest builders rarely finish anything meaningful. The patient ones do. There will be moments when you want to explain yourself, when you want to defend, when you want to release everything you're holding. Pause there. Breathe. Ask yourself whether this word will serve you or simply satisfy the moment. You have the right to your own silence. You have the right to your own pace. You have the right to choose when a word is necessary and when it is not. Years from now, you may look back and realize that the most important turns in your life were not marked by speeches, arguments, or declarations. They were marked by restraint, by decisions made quietly, by things you chose not to say. If even one of these reflections stays with you, then this conversation has done its work. Not loudly, not dramatically, but honestly. And that is enough.